Hey yeah folks, how's it going? My name's Lexi and I really love tabletop games. So much so that we sit down together once a week, every week, and we review one here at the gaming table. I try to keep my videos short, under 10 minutes, so we can both find our next game. If that sounds interesting to you, I encourage you to press subscribe and keep watching today's video. If you would like to go the extra special mile for the gaming table and receive a little shout out at the end of my videos, there is a link to my Ko-Fi page where you can donate to the channel. All donations made to the gaming table go straight back into the running costs of the channel, so it is deeply appreciated. Today I am getting the chance to review a game that was sent to me. I always really appreciate it when people send me the games they've been working on. Not only do I feel honoured that I am being trusted to review a game that someone has worked so hard on to make, but oftentimes it can mean I get to review a game I wouldn't have had the chance to otherwise. If you would like to see a game that you've made on the gaming table, you can reach out to me using the email address in my description box below. I will let you know that I do have a bit of a queue at the moment, but I'm always happy to at least hear you out and let you know when I think I might be able to get a review done. I want to say thank you to T-Rex Games for reaching out to me and providing a copy of their game for me to review. So why don't we dive in? Today we are taking a look at Space Aces, Voyages and Infinite Space. One of the items I was sent was a small card game, and while I don't quite have the time today to cover it, I really did have a great time having a play of this with some friends, so I really am grateful to have been sent it. I was sent 2 manuals for this game. There's the Space Aces, the new guidebook, and the slightly more recent Space Aces Voyages in Infinite Space. I'm going to try cover both as the rules are pretty consistent between these 2 books, with a couple of small differences, and I think there's benefits to both. Space Aces is inspired by pulpy science fiction. In this game, you and your friends play as members of a spaceship traveling from planet to planet to do and see exciting things. You get a fantastic write-up of some of the potential planets you could explore in the book Voyages in Infinite Space. There's an Asimov and Douglas sector of the galaxies to explore, and each of the planets in it tend to be themed after the tropes or the books of these writers. I'm only going to describe 2 of my favourite planets in this game, if only for the sake of time. One of them is Canis Major, found in the Lupin sector. If the name didn't tip you off, the beings on this planet are dog-like creatures, specifically intelligent corgis. In the snack sector, there is a planet called Fontina, and living on that planet is a species called mousicans. They are rodent-like creatures who harvest the addicting subject, cheese, for international export and interplanetary enjoyment. Sessions in a game of Space Aces generally take the form of missions, where the player characters are sent down to a planet to complete a specific task, be that exploration, rescue, retrieval. There's a lot of freedom as to what a mission could be about, and the Game Master can really play around with what a mission can look like. I will say the new guidebook has a really concise and easy way to see how to create a mission as a Game Master, and while it is also explored in the more recent book, I find the new guidebook is really short and succinct, so if you were a game master, that could be useful to have on hand as a fast rules reference when writing up some ideas for a session. And if you're truly stuck, you can roll on some tables to generate ideas as to why your crew is there. When a character needs to do something in a game, the players will roll a d20 and a d6 for them. The d20 is to help them determine whether or not they succeed in an action. So the d20 is known as the action die. Generally, you want to beat or get a higher result than a challenge number set out by the Game Master. The second die rolled is the d6. This is known as the complication die. If you happen to roll a 1 or 2 on the complication die, that means that there's going to be some kind of cost or consequence to what you've done. The cost or consequence, it tends to be pretty immediate, and you also will need to mark down that you've taken on a point of heat. Heat is accumulated throughout the game. It represents the rising tension or the level of action that your characters are getting into. Rolling a 1 or 2 on your complication die when you already have quite a bit of heat accumulated can really raise the stakes of the twist that the GM will provide to the story. If you roll a 5 or 6 on the complication die, you'll get some kind of benefit. The rules for what the benefit can be are a bit vaguer in the rules manual. It seems to be left up to the game master to determine what it should be, perhaps in discussion with the players. I really love the effect of having the d6 be a complication die. You have the d20 and that determines whether or not your character succeeds at what they're doing. But the complication die adds a little bit of a twist to the game, and it can really lead to some interesting opportunities for the players. You could have a roll go badly, but get something good out of it, or have a roll go great, but take on more heat. Player characters in this game have a couple of stats to bear in mind. These are Moxie, Smarts, Wiggle, which is using creative thinking, Pocket, which is your equipment, and Friends. Each of these stats have a modifier attached to it, ranging from a -1 to a +3. So these tend to be in the player's favour. This is what you add to your d20 result when you roll. You could also potentially apply a skill to the roll. A skill represents specialised knowledge that a character has. The skills definitely add a bit of pizzazz to a character. If your characters get into some kind of confrontation, this is called getting into a scuffle. The mechanics for a scuffle are for all action scenes, so that doesn't mean it's direct combat all the time. One of the examples I think provided in the manual is like a hot dog eating contest. Your spaceships as well can get into a scuffle, so you have the option for action in space. While I'm not covering it really here, building a spaceship for your crew to travel around in is super fun to do as a group, and the spaceship definitely has just as much personality as the player characters. This manual is so cute. I loved reading through the game manuals and seeing what kind of stories could be created and planets visited. While the Voyages in Infinite Space definitely gives you more content to play with, the new rulebook is really slim and contains pretty much what you need to play the game. I think if you're running the game, perhaps you might want the Voyages in Infinite Space, but I would definitely be considering the new rulebook for a potential quick rules reference or to give to my players should they need something to look back at. Voyages in Infinite Space kind of has the feel of a family tabletop game. That doesn't mean it is for kids, and I certainly don't think it's going to be for young children. There's still a little bit of maths and adding and subtracting to do, but I think this is a game that is almost for all ages. There's some references to significant contributions to science fiction, and the game has the feeling of a Saturday morning cartoon. You can get a digital copy of Space Aces Voyages in Infinite Space for about $14.99 on itch.io. A physical copy of the manual can be purchased from Etsy for $55 US. A physical copy is just around $15. There's also a deck you can use in this game which has these great hexagonal tiles you can place down. So there is plenty of content for this game if you really love to have lots of toys to play with at the table. I would say if I had to pick one thing from the Space Aces to purchase, I would start with the Voyages in Infinite Space, but I would probably be tempted to get more. So that is Space Aces. What do you think? If you were to visit a themed planet, what kind of themed planet would you want to visit? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. While you're there, I encourage you to like this video and perhaps even share it with a friend who you think might find it interesting. That way YouTube will tell you when my next video is uploaded. Pretty much any and all interactions with these videos really help it get a bit more attention on the sea of the algorithm, and it's deeply appreciated. If you would like to go the extra mile for the gaming table, you can donate to the channel using the link in my description box below to my Ko-Fi page. All those donations go straight back into the running costs of the channel, and I'm always deeply appreciative. I want to say thank you again to T-Rex Games for reaching out and sending me this amazing bundle for Space Aces. If you've made a game yourself and you would like to see it on the gaming table, please feel free to reach out to me using the email address in my description box below. While I do have a couple of games on the to-review pile, I'm always curious to hear about what people have been making. I want to thank you all for watching and discussing Space Aces with me. I hope you're all well, and I look forward to seeing you next time at the gaming table. Bye!